Making headlines. The President meets with members of Malé City Council and WDC. The President announces plans to develop 10 schools in Hurumale over the next 4 years. And the President affirms that no individuals serving in governmental or high-ranking positions can influence the judicial system of the nation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PSM News in English with me, Hafiz Abdul Sattar. And now the news in detail. President Dr. Mohammad Muiz meets with members of the Malé City Council and Women's Developing Committee WDC. The meeting was held at the Secretariat of the Malé City Council.
The meeting was held to discuss the essential needs and important development initiatives for Malé City. As such, the meeting saw council members briefing the President on the challenges facing the ongoing development efforts in Malé City. They deliberated on effective strategies for addressing housing issues and road congestions in Malé. Additionally, the members informed the President about the cemetery's capacity issues and the lack of centralized council services. The challenges faced in striving to provide optimal service to the community was also outlined. During the meeting, the President detailed the government's initiatives to centralize services for the Malé City Council and assured full support for improving public service provision. He also indicated that the Council's role in addressing issues such as traffic congestion and housing would be incorporated. Meanwhile, members of the WDC expressed that they receive comprehensive support from the government authorities for their initiatives. However, they also conveyed concern about a lack of anticipated changes in the committee's functions. Additionally, the committee briefed the President on their key plans for the year. The President acknowledged that members had brought attention to major issues regarding salary constraints, allowances, and other entitlements. He mentioned that legal changes were in progress to address these concerns. Furthermore, he stated that the structure of WDC would be revised to improve technical review and enhance the committee's efficiency. He assured the government would wholeheartedly support initiatives to empower women and advance their causes. The President also signed the official guest book. The council members presented the President with a plaque as a memento of this visit. The meeting was part of the President's ongoing series of visits to the Island Council and City Councils.
President Dr. Mohammad Muiz announces plans to develop 10 schools in Hurumale over the next 4 years. He made the announcement during a meeting with the Malé City Council. Speaking at the meeting, President Dr. Muiz emphasized ongoing efforts to alleviate congestion in Malé City, noting that 22 schools are required to fully implement the plan. He also said that 7 to 10 schools will be constructed in Hurumale within the same time frame. Additionally, President Dr. Muiz acknowledged the scale of the project and its substantial budget, stating that each school should accommodate 1,500 students. He also highlighted building these schools in Hurumale would also help reduce traffic congestion and called for the City Council's cooperation in facilitating the development. Currently, only one school in Hurumale Phase 2 offers education from grade 1 to grade 10. However, with the growing population in the area, it has become increasingly difficult to secure placements in the school. President Dr. Mohammad Muiz states the road development projects in Malé City are progressing following the organization of underground network cables. The remarks were made by the President while speaking at a ceremony held by the Malé City Council. During the ceremony, Mayor of the Council, Adam Azim, shared his concerns on the issues faced within the city and the challenges encountered to tackle them. President Dr. Muiz affirmed collaborative efforts will be asserted to address the mayor's concerns. President Dr. Muiz disclosed the road developmental projects ongoing in Male and Vili Male were significant and transformative endeavors. The president noted that these projects are fully funded by the Chinese government, with practical work expected to begin by the end of this year or early 2025. He emphasized that a part of the project involves organizing utility network cables to reduce the need for future road excavations. Initially, the road developmental projects were to be undertaken under the government's budget. However, following President Dr. Muiz's official visit to China, the Chinese government offered to cover the entire cost of the project. The initiative to asphalt the roads initially started during President Dr. Muiz's tenure as the housing minister. President Dr. Mohammad Muiz states that housing crisis will be resolved with the cooperation of Male City Council. The remarks were made by the president in a meeting held with the council members. During the meeting, President Dr. Muiz highlighted that the housing crisis was one of the major problems in the city, reaffirming the government's priority on addressing the issue. The president stated that the housing crisis can be resolved with collaborative efforts with the council. As such, he recalled the orders of the Ministry of Housing, Land and Urban Development to establish a special committee within the council to assist in evaluating the list of individuals to receive flats. Resolving the housing crisis during his tenure is a pledge made by President Dr. Muiz during his presidential campaign. The president assured that individuals listed to receive land plots in Gulifalu, Giravarufalu and Hulumale will receive their allocated plots. Furthermore, President Dr. Muiz detailed the government's initiatives to centralize services for the Male City Council and assured full support for improving public service provision. He also indicated that the council's role in addressing issues such as traffic congestion and housing would be incorporated. President Dr. Mohammad Muiz affirms that no individual serving in governmental or high-ranking positions can influence the judicial system of the nation, adding that if any such situation arises, the individual will be immediately dismissed from his position. The remarks were made by the president while speaking to the media after his meeting with the Male City Council. Addressing the media, President Dr. Muiz stated the policy published along with the government's manifesto is still under implementation. As such, the president affirmed his dedication to fostering close relationships with individuals of all nationalities, ensuring that no discrimination occurs in order to uphold and protect the nation's freedom and sovereignty. However, President Dr. Muiz shed light on the long-standing bilateral ties between the Maldives and India. Upon assuming office, the president redeployed all the Indian military troops stationed in the Maldives through significant discussions which did not impact the bilateral relations. The president affirmed bilateral relations remain strong and consistent, ensuring mutual benefits. He noted that India has increased the quotas on staples provided to the Maldives compared to any other country. He also recognized the rollout of some loans and other additional assistance India has provided to the Maldives. The Indian government completes and hands over 3 major development projects conducted in Addu city under the Indian Line of Credit Facility.
The Indian government has completed the land reclamation project, the beach protection project and the Hankendi Bridge project in Addu city. The completion of the projects was inaugurated by the Indian Minister of External Affairs Subramaniam Jaishankar, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Maldives Musa Zamir, and Minister of Construction and Infrastructure of Maldives Abdullah Muttalib. A total of 184.3 hectares of land was reclaimed under the land reclamation project of Addu city. This includes 80 hectares of land from Hitadu, 76 hectares from Maradu, and 3.3 hectares from Fedu. It also includes 3 islands of 8.3 hectares are reclaimed for tourism and 4.72 hectares are reclaimed for Hankendi. The Addo City Council has now passed the names of these islands as well. Under the Addo Beach Protection Project, an area of 7 kilometers was riveted and protected. The government noted that the Addo Reclamation Project opens the entire city to tourism and economic activities. It also says that this project will bring about positive changes to the housing problems faced by the residents of the city. Furthermore, the Addo 4-lane detour link road or Hankendi Bridge is a road developed in the southwest of Hankendi Island allocated for tourism development. The bridge development project commenced in 2021 and was developed with 4 lanes. With the completion of the project, the government has now held the groundbreaking ceremony of Hankendi Integrated Tourism Development Project. This is one of the biggest tourism development projects to be undertaken in Addo City. The project will develop 1,041 rooms with 2,082 tourist beds. The Hankendi Bridge project was in conjunction with the city's road construction project, which is also near completion now. The contracts of the projects were awarded to Afghans, the Indian company that has also been awarded the contract to build Tilamali Bridge. The entire project is valued at $77,229.
Minister of Construction and Infrastructure Dr. Abdullah Muttalib states that the roads of Addo City will be developed considering weather conditions. The remarks were made by the minister during a special ceremony held to mark the completion of 2 developmental projects in Addo.
The 2 projects completed with the assistance of India were officially handed over to the government of Maldives. In his address, Minister Dr. Muttalib noted the road development in Addo City is approaching completion. The minister emphasized the roads have been constructed with environmental considerations in mind. As such, the roads were developed with drainage systems installed to minimize flooding during the rainy season. Furthermore, Minister Dr. Muttalib emphasized the importance of the developmental projects in Addo City, which were completed with the assistance of India. The minister noted that the development of the 4-lane Addo Detour Bridge or the Hankendi Bridge was the first bridge established in the Maldives, excluding the bridge in Malé City. The development of the bridge aims to bolster the tourism sector of Addo. Additionally, Minister Muttalib revealed his aim of initiating new projects in collaboration with India for the betterment of all citizens. He underscored India's support for such major initiatives reflect the strong bilateral relations between the 2 countries.
The Minister of External Affairs of India, Subramaniam Jaishankar, says that the relationship between India and Maldives is a modern relationship that will bring delightful changes to the lives of the people. He made the statement during the ceremony held to mark the completion and handover of the Hankendi Bridge project and the land reclamation project of Addo City.
Speaking at the ceremony, the Indian minister highlighted the aid of India in the development of Maldives and Addo City. Highlighting these aids, Jaishankar remarked that the relationship between India and Maldives has transformed into a modern relationship that makes way for development that changes the lives of people. Jaishankar noted that India in recent years has spent $220 million on the development of Addo City, and added that this reflects the priority given by the country to Maldives' regional development. He went on to note that 184 hectares of land has been reclaimed under the Addo Land Reclamation Project. He also noted that the Addo Road Development Project with good drainage systems is near completion. Noting that these projects will facilitate domestic transportation and create more job opportunities in Addo City, Jaishankar stated that the project will also lead to economic growth with increasing business opportunities in the city. He also highlighted that the Tilamali Bridge project will symbolize the strong relationship between India and Maldives, and noted some of the major developmental projects being implemented in the Maldives with Indian assistance. The Indian Foreign Minister concluded his speech by noting that the country gives high priority to human resource development along with infrastructure development. He added that the opportunities for employee capacity building have been greatly increased recently.
The Chief Executive Officer CEO of Maldives Ports Limited MPL expresses confidence that Horafushi in Ha Atoll will become a significant maritime hub as the maritime industry expands in the northern region of the nation. The government has initiated several efforts aiming to develop and enhance the maritime industry in the Maldives.
Speaking at a program aired on PSMNEWS, the CEO of MPL, Mohammad Waji Ibrahim, disclosed decisions have been made to reclaim more land in Horafushi and develop several facilities in the reclaimed area. This includes the development of an oil terminal, a container terminal, and free zone as well. Waji revealed that the necessary concepts for the projects have been prepared and finalized. He noted this initiative will bring revolutionary changes to the island while bolstering the nation's economic development and growth as well. The government is currently exerting efforts to commence international bunkering services in the northern region of the country on August 22nd. Under these efforts, arrangements have been made to facilitate the islands with 2 oil tankers. Meanwhile, the state trading organization STO also played a significant role by signing a term sheet with multinational energy and commodity trading company Vital Bunkers for the international bunkering project. The government is implementing the bunkering service in 2 phases. During the first phase, MPL will be providing an off-port bunkering service. For the second phase of the project, the government aims to develop a port with all other services required. The bunkering service is a supply of fuel to marine ships and vessels.
Beijing says it had filed an appeal with the World Trade Organization over the European Union's imposition of additional tariffs on imports of electric vehicles from China.
In July, the EU slapped extra provisional duties of up to 38% on Chinese EVs after its executive arm concluded in an investigation that they were unfairly undermining European rivals. A spokesperson for the country's Commerce Ministry said in a statement that China appealed to the World Trade Organization's dispute settlement mechanism over the EU's temporary anti-subsidy measures on EVs on August 9. The ministry said the appeal aimed to safeguard the development rights and interests of the electric vehicle industry and cooperation over the global green transformation. It said that the EU's preliminary ruling lacks a factual and legal basis, seriously violates WTO rules, and undermines the overall situation of global cooperation in addressing climate change. Brussels said it took note of Beijing's move but was confident its probe and provisional measures were WTO compatible. A European Commission spokesperson told AFP that the EU is carefully studying all the details of this request and will react to the Chinese authorities in due course according to the WTO procedures. In Geneva, WTO spokesman Ismaila Deng said the organization had received the Chinese request. Deng added in a statement that further information will be made available once the request has been circulated to WTO members. Definitive duties are due to take effect by November for a 5-year period, pending a vote by the EU's 27 states. China and the EU have butted heads in recent years on a range of issues relating to trade, technology, human rights, and national security. But Brussels faces a delicate balancing act as it tries to defend Europe's crucial auto industry and pivot towards green growth while also averting a showdown with Beijing. The EU has launched a raft of probes targeting Chinese subsidies for solar panels, wind turbines, and trains, while Beijing has begun its own investigations into imported European brandy and pork. The United States has already hiked customs duties on Chinese electric cars to 100%, while Canada is considering similar action.
Rescuers in Gaza says an Israeli airstrike on a school housing displaced Palestinians killed 93 people, sparking international condemnation despite Israel's insistence that it was targeting militants.
This strike is now known as one of the largest from a single strike during 10 months of war between Israel and Palestinian militants since Hamas's October 7 attack. The bombardment of Al-Tabayin religious school and mosque drew criticism from across the Middle East and beyond alongside calls for a ceasefire after international mediators invited the warring sides to resume talks towards a long-sought truce and hostage release deal. Civil defense resources in the Hamas-ruled territory said 3 Israeli missiles hit the complex in Gaza City while people were performing dawn prayers. The military confirmed it had used 3 precise munitions. Mahmoud Basel, spokesman for the Civil Defense Agency, said 11 children and 6 women were among those that died at the school shelter, and there are many unidentified body parts, according to him. Israel's military said it had precisely struck Al-Tabayin, later adding that intelligence suggested at least 19 Hamas and Islamic Jihad terrorists were eliminated. Hamas denounced it as a dangerous escalation, while the Palestinian group's Lebanese ally Hezbollah called it a horrific massacre. Iran, which backs both militant groups and had accused Israel of wanting to spread war in the Middle East following high-profile killings in Tehran and Beirut, condemned what it called a barbaric attack. With nearly all of the Gaza Strip's 2.4 million people displaced at least once during the war, many have sought refuge in school buildings, which have been hit at least 14 times since July 6, according to an AFP tally.
The Olympic cauldron rising over Paris beneath a huge balloon each night has become such a popular sight that it may become a permanent fixture in the City of Light.
The unique version of the Olympic flame located in the Tuileries Gardens has been one of many innovations for this year's Games. The 7-meter, 23-foot ring of flame is not actually fire, but is made up of clouds of mist lit by LED rays built by French energy firm EDF and powered by 100% renewable electricity. Each night at sunset, it is drawn up into the sky for 2 hours by a 30-meter helium balloon coated in light-reflecting satin paint. All 10,000 daily slots to watch it rise up close have been booked out until the end of the Games, and it will return for the Paralympics at the end of the month. The real Olympic flame, transported from Greece to France, is installed a few steps from the cauldron in a lantern sheltered by a display case. Now many politicians are talking about making the cauldron a permanent addition to the Paris skyline. The decision lies with President Emmanuel Macron's government. He told reporters last week that the idea would be a dream for many people and that his team would look at all that in due time. It was an idea first floated by Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo, who told France 2 television she was very keen on keeping it.
Apple announces changes to its App Store after the European Union (EU) accused the iPhone maker of breaking the bloc's landmark new digital rules.
The EU said the App Store terms prevented app developers from freely steering consumers to alternative ways to pay, making Apple the first ever tech firm to face accusations of breaching a new law known as the Digital Markets Act (DMA). Now, Apple says there will be changes to comply with the DMA and address the findings of the European Commission, the EU's powerful antitrust regulator. Brussels at the time said developers could only steer customers through a link in their app that redirected the user to a web page to conclude any contracts. Regulators said Apple placed several restrictions, meaning app developers could not communicate, promote offers, and conclude contracts through the channels of their choice. From the autumn, Apple said developers in the EU can communicate and promote offers for purchases wherever they want, for example, via an alternative app marketplace. But in Thursday's announcement, Apple said the changes mean developers will have a new fee structure for customers linking out of an app for offers and content. For instance, developers will have to pay a 5% fee on sales of digital goods and services made on any platforms within a year of a user first installing an app with the ability to link out to a different channel such as a website. If the tech titans modify their platforms in accordance with the EU rules, they can avoid large penalties. The DMA demands the EU wrap up any probe within a year of its start. The Commission told that it will assess Apple's eventual changes to the compliance measures, also taking into account any feedback from the market, notably developers. The charges against Apple came after the Commission launched investigations in March into Apple, Facebook owner Meta and Google under the DMA.
And that's all we have for this hour. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant day ahead.